It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Welcome to Diz and Hers, the show about what's happening in the Disney community from his, hers, and your perspective. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Eric, and today we've got a packed episode as we break down everything you need to know about D23 2026, including the new week-long expansion, what you actually get with a D23 membership, and whether it's really worth the cost. We'll also take a look at this year's Disney's Legends class and who might have been left off this list. Before we shift over into my favorite online meme this week, and it involves a sign and an overlooked stunt show. And to wrap things up, we're diving into some of the most underrated experiences at Disney.
But before we get started, we want to remind you that Diz and Hers can be found on all your favorite podcast platforms and also the video format on YouTube and Spotify. We'd love it if you could head over, leave us a review, and let us know what you want to hear us talk about on future episodes.
Yeah, but this week we're going to actually talk about D23, which is like right in the midst where everybody out there right now is probably on their phone or on their computer trying to get tickets, right, Lauren?
Well, not quite yet, but the window opened, and so there should be a countdown. But by the time you're listening to this, you may or may not have nabbed your tickets. And we're not talking about D23 membership. We are talking about D23, the Ultimate Fan Event Expo. And if you are not familiar, you're a Disney fan but don't really know about D23 or the Expo, that is their big fan convention. It's happening on August 14th to the 16th. At the Anaheim Convention Center. There's also like a full week of experiences leading up to that event. And then there are major presentations like the Parks panel and the Disney Legends Award ceremony that are happening at the Honda Center. So there's a lot of anticipation to see who and what kind of tickets we can get.
Right. And so this is where it gets a little confusing for someone like myself who's not necessarily a merch guy or goes on and pays too much attention to this. And that's what D23 really is. So, Lauren, you have done this for us for the last several years. I remember you gifted me my first D23 membership years ago. And it is the official fan club. So I was out online trying to find out all types of things. Like, what is D23? Is it worth it? And other people were doing the same. So let's start with the basics. D23 membership. Give us a quick rundown of what the heck this is, and does it cost something?
Yes and no. So D23 is, like Eric said, the official fan club. And does it cost anything? Well, if you are a Disney Plus member right now, and for I think like the last year, if you go to perks.disneyplus.com, you can get a complimentary gold membership. And then anybody can join the fan club just for free. Have access to a lot of the events like these conventions. You have to have a gold membership. Then if you're going to pay for a membership, there are three tiers of a gold membership. There are Gold Essential, which is $50, Gold Choice, which is $19.99. That comes with one piece of merch. And then the Complete Plan, which is $329.99. But unfortunately, if you have a free membership, not the complimentary one through Disney Plus, but you are not able to come to the events like the convention, you have to pay, for one of these.
Right. That's what kind of confused me at first, right? And I found somebody else online. It was the first medieval me wrote on Reddit, has anyone attended D23 Gold member events? Because essentially it says, I have a good amount of points considering a membership. How many events are there per year? Where are they held? It doesn't, and basically they state that the admission is not part of the cost. You still have to buy admission. So let me ask you this, Lauren, when it comes down to it, what else, is there only one event per year, one event per every year? Like, we know of the D23 Expo in Anaheim, and I know of like Destination D, which is every other year down in, I think, Orlando. Are there other events that I'm not aware of that you have to be a member of to go to?
Oh, yeah. So I always encourage people to check the D23 site often because there are a lot of events. But he's right that, a lot of them are centralized in Anaheim or Florida, obviously where the theme parks are. I've seen a couple, I think, in Marceline. Like, I was really disappointed. They were doing a Imagineering store pop-up, Mickey's of Glendale at Coronado Springs in Orlando. And I mean, they do sell out pretty quickly depending on the event, but there's more to the membership than the event. And I do think that they understand that value. Like, if you're not going to the event specifically. So for the $49.99, like, I just renewed our essential plan. It did come with a magnet, a pin, a Lorcana card. So they try to add value there. I'm not sure if they're still doing the D23 magazine. I know that's why Jim was a member. But the big ones are, for this Fan Expo and for Destination D23 that is held in Orlando. I think those are the big reasons people, opt for the higher membership.
Well, that's what we opted for because the big goal is to go out to the big convention center. So if you're not familiar with D23, the Fan Expo, this is a separate ticketed event in which you have to be a member of. And in true Disney fashion, there's a bunch of tiers and a bunch of options and virtual queues and all the above. So we won't bore you with all the details. I know you've been covering over on TikTok. You're doing a whole bunch of
Yeah, so if you're
exclusive.
interested, if you want to know more about D23 and how to get your tickets and what you need to have prepared, Disneyland's on TikTok. But the long and short is that if you want to go out to Anaheim for 3 days, it's $297. And
you cross your fingers if you get the Honda Center one. Like, it's going to be the same,
if
but
you get the Honda Center. That's the most important thing to know. And if you want the special pins, you got to be at the $12.99 price.
$12.99 is $1,299 for special pins, not $12.99.
Yes.
And there's a whole bunch of different tiers. So we got to go the last one in Anaheim, which was 2024. Lauren, what's your general opinions on it?
Yeah, I mean, like, for
is it worth it, I guess?
Yes, absolutely. Like, I think it's worth getting the $50 membership, and I think it's definitely worth it. If you're a big Disney fan, and I'm assuming you can handle crowds because I'm assuming you like the theme parks, maybe. I mean, some Disney people, don't necessarily aren't all into the theme parks, but I think we definitely got the value. We also went to D23 day at Disneyland the day before. And it's kind of like the Comic-Con of Disney. There's like the show floor, there's, vendors, there's the Imagineering booth, there's, panels and presentations all throughout the day. My big gripe being a merch person was that you really did have to have a virtual queue for the studio store, for Mickey's of Glendale, so Imagineering merch, and for the D23, the big store. So we didn't, unfortunately, get any of those virtual queues, but towards the end of the weekend, they did let walk-ups. You would just wait in line because there are a lot of people. But I will say, on Sunday morning, the day after the parks panel, we went because in the Imagineering booth, they do have like the models of the things that they announced for the parks. But then we were kind of done by that point.
Yeah.
But was it worth it? 100%. What do you think?
I think when it comes down to it, like, I just say, if you love like the planning aspect and the virtual queues or at least I wouldn't say you love it, but if that's not a struggle for you, this is where you get the best of the best. These are all the people that wake up at 7:00 and get the Guardians and know all the tips and tricks. This is where you get the best. So it is super competitive to get these virtual queues. You really have to have an agenda of knowing what matters to you. And I almost feel like you almost are going to have a letdown because you're not going to be able to do everything. I certainly enjoyed walking the floor. I think that was worth a $99 day pass. There were definitely showcases and presentations that I really enjoyed and liked, and there were other ones that I had no interest in whatsoever, but you had to wait and queue up for all of them. There was about halfway through most days I'm like, all right, I just want to go to Disneyland because you can kind of see California Adventure from the second story. I was just ready to go. But obviously we're queuing up again. We're going to do it again. I think there are some pains and struggles, and there's a lot of peopling and waiting in lines, but there's a lot of cool things you can see and do. And if you don't like this and you don't want to pay, there are a million vloggers that are basically just covering it the entire week. So you'll get most of the stuff. But if you really love that being in the room where it happened kind of ordeal, definitely go. But
behind the scenes looks at how things come to be.
Yeah, but you got to get that Honda Center ticket is not that easy to get. We didn't get it last year. And we were with somebody who plans events for a living. They know exactly what they're doing. They've gone to every single one of them. So it is still a lottery. And what do you get at the Honda Center? Well, that's where the big panels for the Imagineering is. That's where you're getting the Legends Awards. So you kind of want to get that if that's your deal. And if you don't, then you kind of get a little upset about that, a little disappointed. And truth be told, this year, I think you want to get the Legends panel because we have a ton of legends that are being honored this year. Lauren, do you want to give us a heads up of what this program is?
Yeah, so the Disney Legends program, it's not new. I mean, they did move to the Honda Center in 2024, but they've been doing this since 1987, and there are 329 current legends that have been honored. But this year, it's taking place on August 16th, and it's kind of like an awards ceremony. So think of the Oscars or something like that. Disney is having Ryan Seacrest as the MC or the host of the event, and the honorees are stacked. So big ones, I mean, you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you got Lin-Manuel Miranda, Anne Hathaway, obviously Bob Iger, can't forget about him. I was really excited to see retired, I think, Imagineer Eric Goldberg, who
Animator.
I'm not.
Kim Irvine
is
the Imagineer.
Sorry. Yes, Eric Goldberg. He was the animator of the Genie. I love him. So, anybody else you want to shout out?
Well, it's a stacked class. You got Chris Berman from ESPN, Jerry Bruckheimer, Susan Eaglin. You said Anne Hathaway, Kim Irvine, the Jonas Brothers, and Alan Tudyk, which has been a voice actor in plenty of Disney things. So there's a stacked, and it's essentially the Hall of Fame, right? It's the Disney Hall of Fame. Let's call it what it is. They call it Legends, but it's the Hall of Fame. They all get their plaque, I think, that goes outside of the Disney studios. And truth be told, it's a good time, but you want to be in the room where it happened, and that's into the Honda Center. So that's the last day. But we got all the announcements and all good and well, but I had to go over to X because at the end of the day, this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see everybody's opinions on what was there. So Disney announced it immediately, and then of course you go right to the comments to see what's going on. So there were a couple themes, Lauren, and the first theme is, how did the Jonas Brothers get this before Raven-Symoné or Hilary Duff? Followed by Jonas Brothers before Selena? Followed by the Jonas Brother before Hilary Duff? Wild choice. Hilary Duff 100% deserves this honor, literally the blueprint. People were kind of upset that Hilary Duff and Raven and Selena Gomez, all these original Disney Channel pop icons, and I don't think they were mad about the Jonas Brothers. I think they're just mad that the other ones were getting snubbed. What's your thoughts?
I do not think that it's snubbing anybody. I think that Disney is strategic. And so if you look at this, my thought with the Jonas Brothers specifically is right now they're relevant in the Disney universe because they just had a Christmas special on Disney Plus. They made the theme song for Disneyland's 70th anniversary. So they're top of mind. I mean, Anne Hathaway with Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Lin-Manuel Miranda, Moana, the live action, is coming out this year. And so I think that it may have been, less of a snub and more strategic. Obviously, Bob Iger, because he just retired. I think Eric Goldberg just retired. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 100% a marketing play. I don't think these are made by merit. At the end of the day, if it was merit, Eric Goldberg would have been in years ago, right? I mean, he's been animating forever.
Right.
I think it's really when you create these classes and there's not like a board of panel and experts. You're almost making it to the point where you get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of this. You don't want to have 20 animators or all Imagineers or all movie stars. You kind of want a little bit. So this year's the Jonas Brothers, and I wouldn't imagine, I mean, next year might be Raven, it might be Hilary Duff the next. You're not going to get them all in one class. As you can see, it's a varied list. So I think you just pick every year, you're going to have a couple here and there. But as I scrolled through, the one thing, I mean, lots of people were talking about who was being snubbed and who probably shouldn't be in there and like so forth and this forth. But the number one, of course, me being a Michael Eisner guy, It's like, why Iger before Eisner? Found one Epcot enthusiast said 5 reasons why Michael Eisner is more deserving of a Disney legend. He saved Disney from the actual decline in the 80s. He led Disney during its animation renaissance. He expanded the parks into a global empire. He built the modern Disney business model, home video, consumer products, synergy. He delivered sustained organic growth, not just acquisition-driven expansion. Iger simply scaled the Disney that Eisner created. I think I can agree with all that. I'm not saying Iger is not worthy, but I'm also saying, how many times did Eisner probably turn this down? Because he's had to been offered, right?
Yeah, I think I have heard that he's been offered many times and that he turned it down. I think based on he seems like a little petty sometimes, and I kind of like it. He got ousted from his CEO role. Like, he didn't that was not like, he wasn't just riding off into the sunset. There was a lot of, heated emotions as, that happened. So I think he's like, well, screw you people. I'm not coming back and doing that. Now, we know that Michael Eisner did just do an interview we talked about a couple episodes ago, and he was back on the animation studio lot. Yeah. And he was talking about Disney. So maybe time does heal all wounds. And who knows? Maybe if they offered it to him, I don't know. Maybe he would say yes.
Well, listen, then they did name the building after Eisner, so we're getting closer. So maybe let's make the signs now for 2028 D23. Let's get Eisner in. But do you think Eisner should be a Disney legend? We want to hear from you. Who do you think is the biggest snub of 2026? Let us know. But we do know what attraction in Orlando has been snubbed over the last few years, and it's all of a sudden got a huge fan base coming out to support it. And we'll talk about this attraction more after this.
This episode is brought to you by Fandango. People say fans are too distracted these days, but the truth is, when a great movie hits the screen, you show up. You stay glued, invested, part of the story. And without fans like you, there'd be no cinema magic, no shared moments. So head to Fandango.com to get tickets, stream, or rent or buy top movies and series. Fandango loves fans.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
And we're back. Okay, so if you've been on social media lately and you are in the theme park universe at all, you may have been seeing some random signs posted all over the internet and all over the parks. Eric, what is going on with this?
Okay, Lauren. So the fun part is, and it's so funny because it's one of those things that we almost missed last week.
We're switching gears, though. We're talking about Universal.
We are. We're going Universal. We're going theme park adjacent here down the street. And the Bourne Stuntacular, based off the Bourne Identity film series, has always been a really, really good show. I remember when we first went, it was one of the things that I listed as like, wow, that was amazing. I haven't seen anything like that. And it was kind of like, I didn't even know it was here. I've never heard about it before. And it's right when you get in Universal proper. It's like right on the Hollywood street, the first thing. And it's not very well known in terms of like, there's not a huge marquee or anything that makes you say, hey, let's go in here and watch this show. So a couple weeks ago, Magic City Mayhem posted that there was a Bourne sign down by Mel's, and Mel's Diner is down on the very end. And it basically had the Bourne Stuntacular and has today's showtimes and a QR code. And then later, the same Magic City Mayhem posted that Bourne team members are trying to snag audience members down by the horror makeup show and tell them to go see Bourne. And they had a sign basically giving times. So it was a matter of like, all right, hey, we need people to go to this show. It must not have been filling the seats or whatever. And the thing is, this is an amazing show.
Oh my
So-
gosh, it's like one of our favorite things at Universal.
Right. It's one of those things that I wish I could see more and more often. And once you find it and you're like, wow, that was amazing. So what happened was it created a meme because, hey, we got these sandwich boards. We got people down there telling. So like everybody started coming out and saying, this is a great show. Everybody does need to see it. I don't know if it was writing on the walls that like we're scared that it's going to go away because people aren't visiting it. So memes just popped up left and right. And it's been the most entertaining thing on the feed as of late. So I just want to share some of my favorites with you, Lauren. So Tommy Hawkins, he says, I mean, it's ballsy, but if we want people seeing Bourne Stuntacular, the best stunt show in Central Florida, you got to think outside the box. And he's got it on a giant blimp, Goodyear blimp over top of Disney property and the Hollywood Tower Hotel. Then HHN Scott basically has a giant Bourne Stuntacular right underneath the arches at Florida, a giant medallion, basically saying it. Then we got Rock and Stardust. Why wait 15 minutes to see Together when you can see the Bourne Stuntacular? So it kind of goes on. And Scott Walker, who has been making really funny ones, made a fake T-shirt campaign and made it look like it was on Universal's page. And then, of course, showcases Anne Hathaway saying, are you wearing the Bourne Stuntacular Showtimes T-shirt? Yeah, I am. So the best part is Universal got in on this, and on their official X account, they even said, here's the sign to watch a really awesome stunt show today. And it is the globe. It's basically Earth, and it's a giant sign in the atmosphere. And even better yet, Satisfactual.
I thought that says Tyler's. I thought that's what Taylor Swift reposted. It was Tyler Swift.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I was like, this reached Taylor Swift?
No, not maybe she knows. But I thought it was even best that this Satisfactual SC actually made small little signs for sale that you can go buy. That is basically the sandwich boards for the Bourne Stuntacular. So this was my fun, but I want to ask you, Lauren, is the Bourne Stuntacular the best stunt show you've seen, or is it the best one in the area?
Yes. Just yes.
No, well, that's easy enough. I went to Google search to see if that's the case and just basically see what everybody's out there. Now, Google is saying that the best is Waterworld, which we saw.
No.
I mean, I think the Bourne Stuntacular, in which it took over a Terminator show, which was highly reviewed as well. But like, I mean, we've seen Indiana Jones, which is fun. We've seen Lights, Motor Action. We've seen,
yes.
But and we just saw Waterworld, which I thought was fantastic. But to me, there was nothing that kind of dropped my jaw as much as the Bourne Stuntacular. And
there was a girl from Taylor Swift's music video in the Waterworld.
Yeah, so it did reach Taylor Swift.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, you know, if you go over to Facebook, it's really funny. And I typed that into Google, and the first result on Facebook actually grabs AI basically, and it is basically saying the Bourne Stuntacular. So AI on Facebook definitely thinks the Bourne is the number one. So I
wonder if the signs, Eric, were because it is a heavy performer base. There's a lot of people that they need to put on that show. And if people aren't going and seeing it and supporting it, like anything else, they might be looking at cost-saving measures.
Oh, of course. That's it. I mean, how many showtimes? So you need to fill those. And it's just not it's in a great location, but it's not very well visible, right? I mean, it's at the beginning of the park, and you just kind of walk by it. And we've talked with Jim Hill and Jim Schul and so forth, like the marquee and how things are presented is a huge factor in how how many people go to the show. I mean, they talked about, like, I think the Monsters Inc. laugh floor always had issues because you just kind of walk by it, you don't even know it's there. So but I mean, once we kind of learned, I'm glad everybody came out. Bourne Stuntacular hopefully is busy as all hell, and there's so many people seeing it, and there's no chance of us losing something like that, because I certainly want to see it some more.
Yeah.
But it was a hidden gem. It's one of those things where, like, when we first went, I didn't even know it was a show. No one ever told us about it. We kind of stumbled upon it, and I was just like, wow, amazing. So it got me thinking, like, what are some underrated or hidden gems at some of the other parks? So, of course, we go on and we start searching stuff online. We go to Reddit where we want to hear. So, Lauren, what did we find on Reddit?
Yeah, so this is on the Walt Disney World thread, and it says the most underrated things at Disney World. We went on our second Disney trip back in February. My wife and I were reminiscing about what a great time we had. Like most of you, we watched, pretty much, every Disney YouTube video the month leading up to our trip. but never ceases to amaze me that there's a few things that we end up loving that are rarely mentioned or just glossed over. So one of those things that they loved this time around was the boat rides between the Wilderness Lodge and Magic Kingdom, Fort Wilderness, Contemporary. They go on to say it's really beautiful at night when all the resorts are lit up, catching glimpses of Space Mountain and the castle in the background. So, like, that is an underrated thing to experience at Disney, but this wasn't, I mean, like, there were answers. What were some of the ones that people were shouting out?
Yeah, I mean, that basically they were asking what everybody was thinking. So,
Yeah.
and so that is where we come to you guys as well, and we can give our opinions. But other people were saying the garden and street area in the back of the UK pavilion, it's a nice little spot for rest, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what Papa Noel is for Christmas.
I don't think it's Papa Noel. He's he's the classic one. Papa Noel is over in France, I think.
He was hitting on Gargo,
Yeah.
my mother.
Yeah, it was a great time. Somebody else said the hill in Japan, which had leads you up to the secret bathroom that was the last one marked off our list. We used every bathroom in Epcot before, and that was the last one. You mentioned it. Lots of people going for the Voices of Liberty.
Yeah, that was really surprising to me because I feel like it's kind of like the Bourne Stuntacular, where it's just like maybe off the beaten path and you have to see those breadboard signs for the times. But people were saying like that's their first thing and they're like must do. But they go on and, you know, people like the electrical water pageant.
Absolutely.
I always like that. That makes me really, really happy. That's on Bay Lake, Seven Seas Lagoon. But what do you think? What do you think are some underrated or hidden gem things from the park?
I think a lot of it comes down to your mentality. So like I saw a lot of people saying just sitting on Main Street. So my favorite thing is literally sitting on Main Street sometimes. They were talking about the rocking chairs over on Tom Sawyer Islands, RIP. So, I mean, there are elements. So I imagine like a lot of people in these threads were talking about things that you don't have to necessarily pay for, that is part of like the atmosphere and necessarily are things that most people overlook in their busy lightning lane hustle time. So we're talking about attractions that I think are overlooked because of stuff like that. I mean, for me, I'm a people mover guy. I love something like that. But I also very much appreciate a classic attraction like the Tiki Room, where other people are going to say, we want thrill, we want Tron, we want this, we want that. So I tend to appreciate those little things, much like a lot of these people on the Reddit forums. But what about you, Lauren?
Yeah, well, let me go to the other coast since we just came back from Disneyland and that's fresh in our mind. But I think being able to walk through the castle at Disneyland, Sleeping Beauty's castle, and like see the story of Sleeping Beauty, it's really off the beaten path. Like you really have to be looking for it. But I thought that was a really cool kind of underrated thing there. And I mean, like, what about the Main Street vehicles in both parks? Like, don't you have a really nice memory of?
Oh yeah, we did the omnibus, and just right down there. I mean, I think it's all great stuff, but I feel like so what's underrated, I mean, everything is, if it has a lightning lane or fast pass option to it, then it's rated well. We're just talking about things that are like, hey, here are things that you probably don't need to know. I like walking down Center Street, truth be told, at either one, just kind of going down there and hearing the voices up in the top of the the different stores, the music and fake audio sending out there. So
I love visiting all the resorts on the monorail loop. That makes me really happy.
Well, here was a weird one that I wasn't even aware of. I'm like, people stumping me these days. So, Jack Pumpkinhead said, second floor seating on Pinocchio's village house. Like, best view of Fantasyland in its opinion. Like, outside?
Really?
Where is this? I don't ever remember being on the second floor at Pinocchio's. Am I like going nuts?
No, me neither. But what about behind in Epcot, Canada, where there's that giant waterfall?
Oh, yeah. Where you go up there and they got the phone boxes and like we didn't even know it existed forever. So it's one of those things. I think if you enjoy, I mean, lots of people talking about stuff at Animal Kingdom, because I mean, at Animal Kingdom, that is an exploration park where you're gorilla falls.
I did see a lot of like
Lounge.
Rick Feeke's Planet Watch. Again, R.I.P. Bluey is moving into town.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people that like that and the petting zoo.
Yep. Yep.
But we
Yeah,
want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you like? What do you think is the most underrated experience at any of the theme parks, or something that you would think is a hidden gem? Blow our mind. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And I'm going to check out that second floor seating at Pinocchio's house one of these days. So,
Yeah.
but I do think that's going to be it for this week's episode, right, Lauren?
Yes. So for more, make sure you're hitting up disneyhers.com. There you'll find articles, episodes, updates. And if Disney Survive, make sure you subscribe.
And remember, watch what you post. You might end up in next week's episode. Thanks for listening.